you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time and everything changed. Now we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things we didn't know about the first time around.
And just like before, just like always, it wouldn't be one of our shows here, Jeff, if we weren't doing the thing where we're searching for those sci-fi messages that we find in the series all over again. Are we going to see the same messages we saw last time? Or are we going to pick out stuff that's brand new that we completely missed the first time around? We're going to be asking what these episodes are trying to tell us. That's our job.
And like anybody who has a job, we like to have a good time when we do it. And so we play a lot of games here on Babylon 5 for the second time. One of our favorites back in the day was our prediction game. It's very popular amongst our viewers out there, and we had a good time with it, but we can't really play it anymore. So instead of talking about predictions, let's talk about our first impressions. Brent, do you remember your initial impression of Infection?
I do. I remember the show, and I remember going into the show expecting it to be absolutely shite. And it was absolutely shite. But I also remember, and I don't exactly know why, but I just remember that at the minute 27 mark, at that mark, the show turned and became a really fantastic episode. I don't know if I just got used to the cheesy costuming and the bad lighting and the like all the stuff that was detracting, and all of a sudden I don't know what it was, but something changed. I'm gonna be looking for that this time. What was it about that 27-minute mark? What was it that changed, that turned this episode on a dime? But I remember thinking that the costume and the monster looked awful and gooey. I remember thinking the plot just seemed trite. But I also remember, here's the biggest thing I really remember out of it, is this organic tech thing. This was the first time we heard the phrase organic tech. And I really felt like that was going to be this super huge thing in the series, that there's this planet out there that has this organic stuff, this organic tech, and that planet has been decimated. That planet has gone extinct. And somehow us getting our hands on that organic tech and figuring it out and understanding it was going to be key to whatever this greater conflict is that's going to come. Because I think we felt like there was going to be some big, great conflict to come. And I, we would fully explore it. We would understand what organic tech is. What is organic tech anyway? Like, we don't really know. Turns out though, organic tech wasn't a thing outside of, it was a thing in the universe. Those people over there used it, but they never really explored it. It never really was the difference maker in everything. It was just, it's just a thing, but I really remember thinking that this was going to be something super duper important. How about you, Jeff?
I remember hating the costume. I remember hating the reporter.
Yep.
I remember hating Sinclair for almost the whole episode. Well, about half of the episode, because he just kept getting involved in everything. But much like you, I felt like it turned when Pete basically turned into Picard. And I thought he was going to turn into Kirk and try and work him against himself. Mm-hmm. But I had a note that I grabbed that the lighting was so bad that it actually covered the flaws enough in the Akaran costume that it looked pretty cool. So two negatives worked together. Well, with that, Brent, it's time for us to go watch the episode right here, right now, with everybody that's here with us. If you're joining us for the first time, the way this works is Brent and I are going to watch the episode for the second time right now. If you didn't catch our episode when we watched this for the first time, I strongly recommend you pause this, go watch it, come back to this one, then finish watching it, so you know what we're watching this through and you understand where we're coming from. If you're watching us on YouTube, you're about to see the reaction-y style video of this whole thing. If you want to see the entire, full, unedited version of our reaction video, Head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5 first. It's the number 5 and the word first.
Also, fair warning to everyone out there from this point forward, actually even prior to this point forward, but whatever. Everything that has ever been in any episode of Babylon 5 from any season, any spinoff, any film, any con panel, any book, any whatever, it's all fair game. It's all on the table. Spoiler warning ahead. So if you are watching for the first time, you have not seen Babylon 5 all the way through for yourself for the first time, consider yourself warned. And if you're listening on the audio podcasting app, for you guys, we're going to meet you guys on the other side of this episode where we're going to share our spoiler-filled thoughts and talk about those messages that we found anew in today's episode.
Accessing file.
Vance, what are you
Vance, my man from Amsterdam.
I thought I'd stop by and visit my favorite student.
Favorite student.
I've come to offer you an adventure, Stephen. Very possibly the biggest adventure you've ever had.
He is such like an arch villain.
It's the British accent. It's everything about this guy is bad. And it starts with the British accent. It absolutely does.
Favorite student.
Yeah, right.
Of adventure.
You'll find out soon enough.
Soon enough. He should have more of a pause. You'll find out.
Savor the mystery,
soon enough.
Stephen. We don't get nearly enough of them.
That is a really weird way to come and say hi to an old student.
It is.
Funny thing. Bottom of this box on the inside is 4 inches shorter than the bottom of the box on the outside. Like there was a hidden compartment in here.
That's Marshall Teague.
If I didn't know any better, I might think you were trying to smuggle something in.
I can see Talon in him.
Oh, it's just packing material.
I can see him growing into that, but it's not there yet.
Here, let me show you.
Jeff, you're a wrestler. That is not.
That's not a hold.
That's nothing.
That's a cuddle. We call that the big spoon.
Yeah, I think everything about this so far is just, it's bad, Jeff.
Yeah, it's not a good
It's
start.
so bad right now.
I love this from Delenn. I think you're smuggling, so I'm going to announce it and then turn my back. Hey, don't do anything naughty.
Right.
Like, what?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and then a reminder.
This is the episode that makes people turn this show off. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like, well, you know what? It's almost like this. Hey, you made it through Soul Hunter. Good for you. Here's Born to the Purple. This is great. And then immediately, oh, you made it through Infection. Here's Parliament of Dreams. Reminder in the chat that after Mark Harmon left, Gary Cole took over NCIS. So
Gideon.
More Gideon in there.
There you go.
Vance, you're an archaeologist. Everything you touch has been dead for at least 100 years. My area of expertise is a little more current and a lot warmer.
I only date women that have been all but dead for over 100 years.
In good time. Firstly, I'd like to introduce you to my assistant.
Not only.
Nelson, meet Dr. Stephen Franklin, one of the best students I ever had.
One of?
In the area of alien history, anatomy, and culture.
You found something.
Show him.
It's funny. I just had an energy spike on my screen.
Same here.
That could have nothing to do with
It was around MedLab. Sure.
I feel like that girl right over dude's shoulder on the right, she's going to be some famous actress later on.
Babylon 5 got in on the ground
We
floor.
were on a dig
sort of
sponsored by interplanetary expeditions when we found these artifacts.
Like that one episode that, I don't know, Kirsten Dunst showed up in Next Generation.
Took us months to get them out.
But Akara 7 is a dead world.
Yes. But don't you see, that proves what I've been saying for years. That Akara was once home to a highly advanced spacefaring society.
No, please don't touch that.
Jordan.
That was the very first
How old are
mention of interplanetary
Minimum 1,000
expeditions.
years. No chips, no sign of
Good
wear
catch,
or
Jeff.
age.
If we didn't have Infection, we wouldn't
Since
have
they were
Max
made
Eilerson.
yesterday.
Oh, well, you know.
What were they made to do? This artifact is composed of living tissue. This is organic technology.
That's why I
One
came to
trick
you.
that Earth hasn't yet been able to crack. The ability to create living ships that thrive in the vacuum of space.
The one trick, that
to create weapons
anti-gravity.
to produce their own power through internal generation.
the-
Like a firefly lights up at night.
I want to take it back, and I want you to pay attention as Ducky is talking about organic tech to the music, right? And I want you to do that through the lens of organic tech is a really big deal in the world of Babylon 5.
Okay.
The ultimate synthesis of machine technology and living tissue.
Why in the world did we not explore this more?
Right? And
Living,
they mentioned
living ships that have the ability to survive in the cold vacuum of space, that provide their own power, and like, what? No, like, the one trick humanity has yet to crack. Does that not tell you, hey, pay attention, because in the story we're gonna crack it?
It's literally Chekhov's organic weapon.
Looking at you, JMS. What happened? What happened here? I want to know.
Man. Drop the ball.
Like, dude, that's just going too far. You just insulted him. We JMS, we love you. We really do.
Yeah,
but so okay, they were the Vorlon ships. Cool. What'd we do with that technology?
Stand by. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take your Babylon 5 for the first time experience to the next level? With our exclusive Patreon, you'll get access to all kinds of cool stuff that you can only find there. Our recording notes, unedited reaction videos, an exclusive Discord community. And you can even be listed as a producer of the show. Plus, we even offer exclusive meet and greets and hangouts. You won't find this kind of experience anywhere else. Get all these amazing benefits, plus the opportunity to interact with other fans from around the world. It's being part of a huge community where everyone shares the same appreciation for Babylon 5. Subscribe at patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's the number 5 and the word first to get access to these incredible benefits. That's patreon.com/Babylon5First. We can't wait to see you there. When Kosh died, he flew him out. Like, it did that.
I mean, they incorporated it somehow into the White Stars, but it still didn't affect us. It didn't affect the viewer. It was just, oh yeah, it's there. It wasn't like it impacted something, you know, and somebody's going to be telling us, oh, it's what made the White Stars so badass or something like that. Okay, cool. But it didn't land.
It's not worth this like orchestral buildup in this moment of like this.
Right.
Like, if you just watch this, you're like, oh my God, organic tech is the crux of the entirety of Babylon 5.
That's what I thought the first time around. That's what I was saying. Like, I really thought this was going to be like the thing. No, it's a MacGuffin.
The Vorlons have one. Some people even say the Mimbari have them.
Maybe not.
I haven't seen enough of them up close to get any idea of how they work.
I do like the curiosity in Franklin. He's like excited and like he's like,
well, there are better equipped facilities back on Earth.
I need someone I can trust. So are you in or out?
That was quick. It really is like the find of your career. It's big stuff.
Absolutely. I wouldn't blame him. Jeff, you ever seen the movie The Mummy? Brendan Fraser? Oh my gosh.
Imhotep.
Okay. So let's just clarify. All that's happening right now is an electric pulse and a gas. That's all that's happened to him. He didn't get implanted. Nothing stuck to him.
Nothing physical.
Right.
But clearly he ain't good. Look at that. He's still wearing his pajama shirt.
Oh, look at his hand. Look at his hand.
Yeah.
He's looking a little green.
It's like he has an infection on his hand.
Yeah. You know what? This is infinitely better than the infection that Harry Kim got in Voyager.
Oh, there you are, Chief. Any word on the autopsy yet?
Who is interplanetary expedition? You said they were fronting this expedition, but I checked. I can't find any information on them.
Look, Stephen, I didn't come halfway.
I really don't remember hearing about
IPX
until Sheridan's first wife.
Friendship.
Oh, really?
If that's too much of a burden.
No, it is not. I just wish that you would stop taking shortcuts.
Look, we're both tired. I suggest we get a good night's sleep and start again tomorrow fresh. If you have any questions then, I'll be glad to answer them. Fair enough?
That you were fired 5 times for unspecified personal problems, and that this is your last chance to make good.
Get a lot of background on this
Care
one.
to comment on any of that?
Personal problems. I wonder what those personal problems were. I think I know.
Personal problems is HR speak.
All right, here we go. Plant the thing in your chest, dude. Dude, anything glowing green is bad, man. That's like
time.
Universal movie stuff. Dude, that thing is a keeper. That's an early version of a keeper. That's what that is.
I wonder if it's based on the same tech, right? The same organic tech.
Oh, that the keeper is... I think keeper is supposed to be an actual biological thing, not just a tech.
Organic tech. Biological.
My God. No Townsend, what happened?
Here we go. Protect. I do remember this part.
So just a quick pause to hit our council chambers chat. There's a couple pieces of chatter in here from the Babylon 5 wiki and a few other spots that the Akaran armor and stuff was leftover shadow tech. So there's
leftover
a chance.
shadow tech?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Interesting. Okay.
Like maybe they're the ones who wiped out the Akarans and then left some of their. I don't know. They wouldn't have wiped. I don't know.
Well, it'd be the Akarans picked up the shadow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is what that would be, right?
Or
yeah,
there's somewhere it's not shadow tech. It's actually something else, someone else's tech that the shadows then got, the Akarans got, right, and then they kind of had their own, but it's all from the same place. So they figure it's But I think, but with that, there's a good chance that little bug thing and the Keeper totally are connected. So that's a good call on your part. Like
leftover shadow tech, man. Okay. I mean, that had been leftover from the first, or from not the first, but one of the. Does that make the Akarans a first one race?
I think so. Like if they were organic tech 1,000 years ago when the shadows came and had that big.
But the first
war.
ones were gone a long time before, just 1,000 years ago. Like the first ones were tens.
There's
of
like the
hundreds
first
of
ones
years ago.
And then there's like generations, and it happened to be that in the Shadow War 1,000 years ago, the Minbari were the up and coming.
The Minbari were young then. Mm-hmm. You know, we were not even crawling around the primordial. Not 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years.
What were we doing 1,000 years ago? According to these guys, 1,000 years ago would be what is it? 1200s. So we're in the Crusades. Like,
yeah, we were super advanced by then.
Yeah, but we're more than just rolling around the primordial sludge. Like,
but yeah, and Nia said it in the chat too, where I was going, it's like the Minbari to the humans, and this one it was the Akarans to the Minbari.
Makes sense.
And here in a minute we're gonna dive into more of their history. So
organic material requires a 48-hour quarantine. There's no record of their being quarantined or examined here or at Proxima 3.
I'm as much in the dark as you are. Nelson told me that he checked them.
If it has to be quarantined, shouldn't it have to be quarantined? Like, I don't care if it got quarantined back there or not. It's getting quarantined here.
Smuggled aboard this station. Now, until I hear otherwise, I intend to hold you personally responsible. Is that clear?
Yes.
Do that.
Yes, it is.
According to Dr. Franklin, just before it fired, it said something about protect. You
Something
think that
about
might be the key to whatever it was programmed to do?
Maybe. Protect.
But the question is, protect who?
I know.
And
Pick
from
me.
What?
I know.
Well, that information may be contained in the remaining artifacts. If I could assist Dr. Franklin in decoding them. I mean, if I am responsible for starting all this, the least I can do is help finish it.
Now he gets a conscience? After all that, now he gets a conscience? No.
Well, his poor Steven got shot.
Yeah. No, this is awful. This is bad. I'm sorry.
You see what I mean, though, about the bad lighting?
Gray 13,
like it covers a lot of it.
Yeah.
Something else.
Gray 13? He just mentioned Gray 13.
20% more powerful than the last time.
Oh, that tells us
he's getting stronger.
Mm-hmm. It's like a nuclear.
That's like Franklin's stunt double right there, or stand-in or something. Yeah, I'm sorry. That score, that music, it's too much for what we're seeing right now. It just is.
Relay the data to security. I want this thing pinned down to within 10
now,
feet.
He should not be saying this with her in the room.
Commander.
Yeah, this is good.
You're too young to experience that much pain.
I love Ivanova.
It just makes me sad, though, if I'm being honest, because
Yeah.
she's not this person in season 2 and on. And part of it's growth, right?
Yeah.
But also, I like hardcore Ivanova.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at 22 and a half minutes, just 4.5 minutes away from it getting good.
Oh my God, this is awful, Jeff.
Yeah.
This monster costume is awful. I saw a helmet. Yeah, it's supposed to be armor, but still, like... Ugh.
We need to make it look more alien-y. Well, I'll spray it down with some water. Okay. Here you go.
I got to be honest, Jeff. As a first-time watcher, if I didn't have to go through this episode, I would be shutting this off right now. I really would. I'd be like, okay, I'm out. I can't do much past this anymore.
Did you watch
like
the
this
Power
is my
Rangers?
out moment right here.
Did you watch the Power Rangers at all?
Yes.
You would agree that it's very corny looking.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
What's the difference between Power Rangers and this?
Power Rangers knew that it was corny looking and was made for children.
Yeah.
And was not made for adults.
I was going to say lighting.
Yeah.
So like Power Rangers knew what it was and they put an awful thing.
Power Rangers did not have this big orchestral score behind it, making it feel way more important than it should be.
Yeah, and then I'm very grateful for this lighting because we're not getting too much. And this is the thing, and it's the specific thing that I've got a problem with this armor is like it's clearly this helmet with his face cut out, and then they just like slapped oil paint on his face to like blend it, and the colors are bad, and it doesn't quite hug his face, so it's just
you can still see his teeth and the inside of his mouth. The pink inside of his mouth, like
it's Halloween costume. Like
it is.
It's just that level of
it's just not. But overall though, even there's a like I'm this too much is too much. I'm out.
It is. And I want to, knowing it's Marshall Teague, I want to be like, well, I mean, he's presenting no, it's just not good.
And Fabio's bringing up a great point here. Now the music is at fault. Had the music been worse, you'd be pointing it out being bad. Yeah, Fabio's absolutely right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the music is here for an episode that is here. And you're asking me like the difference between this and Power Rangers. Well, in Power Rangers, the episode's here. The music was dun, 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 dun. Like it was here. Like they were matched. It just
And when you have that much gap between them, it exposes the gap. Look how much better and effective this is.
Yeah. Because they're trying to be serious here. They're trying to be serious. This is, like I say, this is a point. Don't get mad at me, guys. Don't get mad at me, guys. Don't get mad at me. Our job is to catalog our feelings and emotions in the moment. Here we are. And we're
about 3.5 minutes out from it getting good.
I was going to say, but I know it gets better. I know it gets better.
Bulkheads. Could be anywhere.
The last burst was completely off the scale.
And if he continues to build power at that rate, pretty soon he'll be strong enough to destroy the entire station.
So, the next
I really
chance
like
we
them
get to
working
stop
together
him
here. This is cool.
might be our last chance.
Our last best chance.
All right, listen up.
That's him. His name was Tular. But people can be fooled, so to prevent them from being confused by any misleading instructions from the enemy, they hardwired the machine half of the weapons not to respond to anyone who wasn't pure Ikaran. One problem, Commander. How do you define a pure Ikaran or a pure human? No one is pure. No one.
Temperature's up 500 degrees.
I'm pretty sure I'm pure human.
Doctor, I'm joining Mr. Garibaldi on the
Pretty
line.
sure.
You're from Kentucky, so I don't know. See right there? That was good. When he came through and there was no light on him.
The next invasion, 11 of the machines were released, and they stopped the invaders by killing anything that didn't
This
match
is where
their
it gets
profile
good.
of the pure, perfect Ikaran.
Because now we're
When they were
going through all this
finished,
history of the
machines
Ikarans
turned on their
and everything.
creators.
We're at
They began
27 and a
the
half
process of
minutes.
extermination based on the
Look at
slightest
that.
deviation of what they were programmed to consider normal. They killed and kept killing until the last Ikaran was dead.
Is there anything there we can talk to? And we'll just have to find a way around the logic of the program. Better head back to the med lab, Doctor. I suspect we're going to need your services.
I love how his first thing was, how do we talk to it?
Weapon.
Yeah, keep him out of the light. And that's great when he's in the shadow. When he's in the shadow, it looks good because it's shadow tech.
It looks good now with the smoke in front of it. Looks great.
As long as something is blocking it, it looks great.
As long as I can't see it, it looks amazing.
The sound of PPGs sure have changed.
The only weapons that might be big enough to kill it would rupture the hull and kill everybody anyway.
And that's
The
what we'll
only
have to do,
weapon.
blow out the hull.
Where are you going?
I'll try to lure it into the docking area. We get it in place, seal the area, and blow out the airlock. Armored or not.
I notice
nothing
they're in
can
like
open a
their like
vacuum.
combat
Fine.
uniform stuff, but there's no helmets.
By going straight to its personality matrix.
I'm gonna poke the
This-
Icaran.
Man, are you nuts?
This is where we're really getting the Sinclair Solutions stuff
Yeah.
that I love. I love Sinclair Solutions stuff.
Well, we get to his solution stuff, but we also get that streak in him of putting himself danger's way to save everyone else.
Yeah.
Who knows my
I forget who said it in the chat, but 100% this is Swamp Thing. 100, that's
Yeah.
the perfect comparison.
Your name
I believe that was Ben. Yeah.
is dead, Tular. Ikara is dead.
That was dumb. Like,
You know what I appreciate is he doesn't have shields. It's just the armor absorbing that.
yeah.
Also, this does not read like armor.
No.
This is an alien has taken over the body and has grown exoskeleton, whatever this is. This is not armor.
Protect!
Protect!
From what? Impure!
I remember this too because I'm like, he's totally
Who are not pure Ikaran. Yes.
totally kirking Tular here.
Seal the area. Stand by to blow airlock and depressurize.
I really like the intensity O'Hare is bringing to this.
Only one way out past that thing. I'm dead either way. Dog the hatch. Seal it now.
Like, I'm really buying that this is life or death stuff.
You can access his memories. See for yourself.
How does he know that he can access his memories?
See what he's seen.
See, now he's not just helmet with the face paint. Like, he's got full...
Go on. Look into his mind. 1,000 years dead. There's your pure world, your perfect world.
We did this.
Yes. No! Look you and the rest. You forgot the first rule of the fanatic. When you become obsessed with the enemy, you become the enemy.
We hear that later on.
Great maker!
Oh, great maker.
Forgive us.
I like it because, like, even though the purity of the Ikara is a myth, he still loves Ikara. Good thing he had that armor on. Might have hurt his head. Oh, that was fast. Clean. He's just a little bit sweaty.
You'd expect him to have like some goop on him and
something.
Lots of
probably
different
green.
things.
Green goop.
Stephen, how's Nelson?
His hair maybe a little more messed up.
Midlab 2, resting.
For God's sake, Vance, why?
Porque Interplanetary Expeditions.
Here we go.
The corporation that financed the dig on Ikara 7 is a front. A front for a bioweapons supplier. Oh, I could just have turned over the artifacts, taken the standard commission.
Did they come back for this later on?
Organic weapons. Then I could take a chance, hold back on delivery, and
Pay millions.
Oh, more money than you can conceive.
I imagine it's
you could take
not.
That chance, you had to be
like
sure.
they have a
That's why
front
they put
that's
them
that.
Yeah.
This is just them saying they're evil.
All you have to do is
don't write it in your report.
Not turn me in.
All right, keep your mouth shut.
I mean, just think what you could do with all that money.
That dude's got a great like voice for video games and stuff.
It's too late.
Yeah, Franklin's right. He should have turned the dude in.
Mm-hmm. It's like that was fun. This is where Garibaldi comes and gets on him for having a death wish.
Come. Jeff.
Yeah?
You're my friend.
Oh, thanks.
You've been my
Dig
friend
you
a lot
too.
longer than you've been my commanding officer, so I think I'm entitled to say this.
It's funny considering those two
We were
hated
both
each
in
other.
Earth Force during the war. I wasn't on the line, but I did my share. I know a lot of guys who came out of the war changed. I think they're looking for something worth dying for because it's easier than finding something worth living for.
Dang.
Finished.
That was excellent, Garibaldi. Like, he's a good friend, good security officer, good, shipmate, veteran.
Jerry Doyle shows he actually has like some real acting chops.
You seem
there, too.
troubled, Doctor. You'll excuse me if you need me. I'll be over there, getting drunk with the rest of the aliens.
With the aliens.
Forget about that line. I forget about the line.
Whether it happens in 100 years, or 1,000 years, or 1,000,000 years, eventually our sun will grow cold and go out. When that happens, it won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe, and Lao Tzu, and Einstein, and Morobuto, and Buddy Holly, and Aristophanes. All of this was for nothing, unless we go to the stars.
I love that.
It's a great line. How does it
Well,
work
I'll be
in real
worth
life?
nothing.
Huh?
I'll be worth nothing unless we go to the stars. And that's why I'm proposing we fund this space program, go colonize Mars, and then
There you go.
Neptune. Neptune? You're going to colonize Neptune. Good luck.
All right, Jeff, we have just got done watching Infection for the second time, my friend. Wow, what a journey that one took us on.
It really did.
We had lots of stops along the way. There were lots of times we got to talk about this in a moment. So we won't necessarily rehash our entire reaction to that. You guys either just saw it or heard it. Jeff, take us through it. What did you think the second time around? Some of your impressions about Infection as we watch it again.
So if you just came from listening to our first time reaction, a lot of this is going to sound familiar. This episode sucked. Like, it was horrible until it was awesome and amazing. And frankly, like the ending, like I even made a note, like the ending was so good, I forgot how bad the first half was.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. Some first time stuff in here, right? Interplanetary expeditions, organic tech, interesting episode. But yeah, the end, which we'll talk about when we get to messages primarily, man, it was amazing. And to your credit, sir, like it was 27 minutes and I don't know, probably I caught it at 27:32 or something like that. So it was probably right about 27:15 that this became an amazing episode.
It did. And it was exactly what I remembered, except I didn't remember why, but where we go there at the end with Sinclair doing Sinclair stuff, like he's like, yeah, I'm going to go reason with it. I'm going to go make it angry. I'm going to go piss it off. I'm going to go talk to it. Like, I hate to say this, Jeff, and I'm going to ruffle a whole lot of feathers. JMS, if you're watching, turn it down for the next 30 seconds. This literally, Jeff, might be the most Star Trek I have seen Babylon 5, and I'm thinking about the entirety of Babylon 5. What happened in the last 13 minutes of this episode might be the most Star Trek I've ever seen Babylon 5.
It's
like you can rip that right out of any Star Trek series of the way that he handled that. And
word for word, line for line, everything.
Every message. Like this is what I love sci-fi for. It's not just Star Trek. Like Star Trek doesn't own the corner on this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like and the fact that Trek taps into this, but I mean, you and I've seen Stargate tap into it. We've seen Battlestar tap into it. Here's Babylon 5 tapping into it. I have nothing else to talk about but messages. So,
well, I just want to make one observation because I'm about eating crow when it comes to things with my first time reaction. And if we remember the first time we watched this, Brent, like I don't think I had a single good thing to say about Sinclair. Almost for the whole season. He was understanding that his doing everything and going out there is part of, understanding that story a little bit more now.
Yeah.
I can look at this and just say, I loved Sinclair in this episode. I loved what Michael O'Hare brought to Sinclair. That whole time he's chasing Tular Nelson down.
Yeah.
I bought it. I 100% bought the intensity and the stakes of that. It was incredible. One of the things we're doing here on our second time view is we're checking out the Lurkers Guide. I have a handful of observations. I'm gonna link. I'm gonna put two of them together, but kind of makes me feel a little more justified in a lot of our feelings. JMS said he actually apologized here. He said he's no one more critical of his work than him, and when it comes to infection, I just kind of prefer if it kind of vanished in the night. I feel that way about only 2 episodes out of 22, so that's not too bad, I suppose.
Yeah.
Any guesses what the second episode was?
So from the first season.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think it's Soul Hunter. I'm trying to do this without looking at the titles of the episodes.
It's hard.
Is it the one with Ben Zane?
No, that's the one I thought it was going to be too.
Okay, which one?
There are a lot of people out there going, well, it's TKO. It is not. It is The Quality of Mercy.
Isn't that the one with the machine?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because
that machine comes back much later. Why?
Yeah, well, apparently he had a fever, and he doesn't even remember writing it.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
And he wrote that episode, I guess? All right.
And he goes on to say that infection is not indicative of the season overall. It's probably one of our weakest episodes. So.
I would agree up to the 27-minute mark.
Yeah. But also, everything that happened in the second half, as we transition now to the messages, because we cannot not talk about the messages. But you made the argument, I'm going to bring it up again, that wasn't Babylon 5, and that wasn't indicative of the rest of the season. That was peak sci-fi. And that's not mutually exclusive things. I'm not saying Babylon 5 isn't peak sci-fi, but he said it's not indicative of the season overall, and I completely agree with that statement.
Not the first 27 minutes, no, because it was just bad. I mean,
but I don't even think the second.
Well, honestly, even
was.
the second half is really not indicative of the rest of the series either. Yeah, that's true.
But
it's very true.
It does some of the things, but not in the way that it did this. What are some of the messages you pulled out?
Well, I want to point out what our friend Mattie says over here in Council Chambers. Says, this is the first time I care about Sinclair and find him interesting. And I'm with Mattie on this one.
100%.
I'm with Mattie on this one. I do. Before I get into message, I did have one observation that I have to bring up and ask. we heard a phrase in here, I'm going to assume for the first time. I don't think we've heard it yet. Somebody's going to be like, yeah, it was said in The Gathering or something like that, or it's said 3 times so far. The monster dude, as Tular, screamed out to the Great Maker. Now, the Centauri reference the Great Maker. Londo references the Great Maker quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same religion, same Great Maker? Or are we just copying this phrase over and co-opting it for the Centauri later on as we get into their religious history and stuff?
Well, I think that it could be similar. You know, when I think about the worshippers of Andraste and the followers of the Chantry in Dragon Age, they call him the Great Maker. You know, so which is probably because it's a BioWare game. It's probably also ripped off from here in Babylon 5. But yeah, maybe it is cool though that that continuity is there.
Yeah. Okay, so messages. Let's jump into messages. The biggest one that is clear, and it actually drives the entire rest of the episode. You have to find the humanity in something.
Mm-hmm.
You find the humanity. Hey, here's this big monster. Here's this big thing. Oh, it turns out they put they put a human brain into it to help. Well, what was that thing's name? Well, that name was Tular. All right, I need to go talk to Tular. Is Tular in there? Let me talk to Tular. The humanity is still there. Luke Skywalker. There's still good in you, Father. I can sense it. It's in there. Let me appeal to that part of you, right? They need to find a way around that machinery to talk to that thing, to talk to that part of it. That's what we're going to come into. That's where we're going to, you want to fight with somebody? You want to get into somebody? Appeal to their humanity. Find their humanity. Go at it from that way. Also, this was just glaring to me, and I've seen other, even non-sci-fi franchises use this one. You can't get anyone who is absolutely pure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to bring this to our real world. All right. We're going to talk about the different peoples and different races across this great planet Earth. I'm talking about humans, not aliens, humans.
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody who is pure-blooded this or pure-blooded that? Doesn't really exist. We're all humans. We're all brothers and sisters as we go out. There is no all of this or all of that. It just doesn't exist. This is the type of stuff feeding into this idea that strong men, fascists, and Nazis feed into people and stoke that stuff up into people. The need to kill anything that is different or alien. We got to get it out here because it's not like us. It's not pure like us. This is something that drives drama. It drives stories in so many different franchises, sci-fi or not. And it is something that we see in our life, in our world happening today. And if you think you know what I'm talking about, you're probably right. And if you're getting offended at it, then I'm talking at you because it does not exist. And here's the thing. All right. Franklin is going in here and he's describing this whole thing. He's basically describing our world or the direction that so many people want to take our world right now. Okay, let me bring it back. Our country. I don't want to speak for the rest of the world out there. I'm going to speak for my country. I certainly see it happening right here. And he asked this question, looking at the monster. Is this a vision? Is this telling us that this is where we could go? That we could what? Because what happened with the monster, Jeff? The monster wanted to protect everything and keep everything pure. So what did they wind up doing?
Killing themselves.
They killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does a pure thing actually look like? It doesn't exist. It's not
exist.
There. How often have we talked about that? We need each other. We have to be together. This idea of, oh, well, if you don't belong here, then I'm just going to ship you off. You're not from here, so I'm going to ship you off. Like, no, that's, I'm sorry, Jeff, get your censor button out. That's bullshit. It's just BS, man. It is. This is not how we operate. And the fact is we need the influx of diversity, because you know what happens when you don't have that influx of diversity? You become inbred. And you know what happens when you become inbred? You die and you kill yourself out. That's what happens. And this image of this organic tech destroying us all in the name of protecting is exactly what will happen. It's the same thing with the Hayok-Do in that storyline. It's the same thing that we see happening here. Yeah, it is a vision of what could happen and what could come.
Yeah, it basically says racism just doesn't make any sense. Like it just logically makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I think, and you talked about it some, but I mean, you can just trace back, everything back to our cradle of civilization and the, Tigris and Euphrates, and like we all track back to the same, whatever, group of whatever. But also, if you start getting a little more metaphysical about things, and I'm going to slap it on the Minbari, for example, who are also very much about purity. And, we get on them quite a bit. Yes, they are. Yeah. But their core belief is that we are all manifestations of the universe. And we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all stardust.
We're all stardust.
And if we're all stardust, aren't we all the same? And here, I'll pose this. Purity does exist. Purity is us. The mixture of everything put together. Yeah. The most pure thing we can possibly be is all of us pushed together. I've talked about this a bit in the past, but I enjoy psychedelic experiences, and going on, almost a year and a half now at this point. So I went into a workshop and did holotropic breathing, and which is incredible. You should look it up. Yeah. I got to stop and have lunch with Nia on my way back down. It was up in the way Pacific Northwest, almost Stargate country. But in my trip that I was on,
you were on a trip, all right.
Oh my God, yeah, dude. Someday I'll share the whole thing. It was intense, but I saw people that I knew as just essentially beings of light, but not like you think. Like I can't describe exactly what it was, but it was light. And as groups were coming together, the light got bigger and brighter. And my big epiphany out of the trip was like, oh my God, if we all come together, we'll be the brightest thing that has ever existed. And I can't think of anything more pure than that. So
I would just like to point out Fabio, who is one of our most frequent and greatest commenters, says that Catholic Jeff is great, but psychedelic Jeff is better.
You put the two together.
Psychedelic Jeff is the best Jeff. I agree with you on that.
I have a good time. I have a good time with that. It's good stuff.
I got something else for you.
Yeah.
And I thought this was incredible. This is a lesson I try to teach my children when trying to teach my young children coping with the ideas of death and what that means, and the idea that we live on in our children, right? Sinclair's talking about why it's so important that we go to the stars. He says, look, we're not just, that sun's going to explode. And it's not just going to kill whoever's around. It's also going to wipe out Mozart and Einstein and Buddy Holly. And all of these, like the whole history. And like, when you think about that, like if the human race just disappears, gone, it's not just the people who are alive at that point that disappear. It's everyone that comes before, because we live on, our ancestors live on in us.
Yeah.
We keep them alive. Right. And I tell my children that like just trying to prepare them, because the day is going to come, right? Like, I am always with you. You make me eternal. You keep me moving. You keep this going. And in you, I live on. It's the story of the Lion King, right? He lives in you.
Yeah.
Right. But really the idea that it's not just like your parents or your grandparents or your direct descendants, but it's also your culture. And all of a sudden I'm thinking of from the inner light in Star Trek, hey, we've got to keep our culture alive. We can't let our as long as somebody remembers and somebody's talking about us, we're still here, and we haven't just been obliterated. That is a beautiful way of talking about that.
Yeah, I love it. They say that's our immortality. Our immortality is through our children. But I would also say our immortality is, I've heard people say that as long as someone is speaking my name, I still exist. As long as there is the memory of me. And sometimes that memory is, the children, the genetics that you have passed on. But it makes me wonder, this is sci-fi, so it looks at us as a whole and as the humanity. When the sun goes cold, all of this is gone. But to speak to both the tragedies of humanity and the danger of life itself, how many civilizations and cultures are completely lost to time, either through conquest, natural disaster, their own mistakes or whatever, that we never knew, and never will.
Yeah.
And if we're all, to tie it back, if we're all manifestations of the same universe and coming together, then that's a loss. That's a thing that we have.
Well, that's the Minbari thing, right? That's the Minbari thing, right? Because when we lose these souls, it diminishes us, right? Again, You can't kick all the impure folk out because we need each other. Right?
We need them. Yeah, we need everybody.
We need that. So, Jeff, I mean, this is a 5 Delta episode through and through, man. Like,
I think we gave it 4 or 5 a piece on the first time around. So
yeah,
this is the first episode in our second watch where I feel like we pretty much landed in the same spot we did the first time. With just a little more context.
Did you? Because I'm coming out of this episode remembering the last 13 minutes, not remembering the first 27. Like, yeah, that was all bad, but my God, this stuff right here is, I mean, it's the same way I feel about TKO. Yeah, all that over there is bad. This piece right here makes the whole damn episode worth it. It's a good episode. This is an episode that should be watched. Although I got to tell you, at minute 24, I'd be out on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not the episode, the show as a whole. That's a message right there, Jeff. You never know. Stay for 3 more minutes because you never know when it's about to turn. Just stay for 3 more minutes.
It's totally that dude digging and the diamonds are just on the other side as he walks away.
Right. Well, Jeff, you know, part of our list with everything that we do here, we are creating our 100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5. Season 1, Babylon 5 here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our current top 3, because this is all we got right now, is 3. Our number 1 episode for the season so far, Born to the Purple. Number 2 is Midnight on the Firing Line. Number 3 is Soul Hunter. Jeff, my friend, you get to place this one. Where is Infection in the whole list here?
This is harder than you would think.
It shouldn't be.
Well, this is the thing.
But it is.
It's not as good as Born to the Purple. It is better than Soul Hunter.
Arguable.
It is arguable, which is why, Brent, it's going to be number 3. Just above Soul Hunter. It's not quite a Midnight on the Firing Line. Soul Hunter. So this is, I'll just say too, like this is where I'm at right now. And maybe it's recency bias because we just watched Infection, but Soul Hunter becomes good because of what comes later specifically. Infection plants some seeds that most of them, I mean, the IPX thing is a pretty big deal. So that could have come later.
I would encourage you, Jeff. Okay. I don't think I've ever stumped for this piece before. I would encourage you. Remember, this is our second time viewing ranking, which means we don't just take this episode for as it is. We take this in context of the entire series and where it goes and what it means. Like we have to. So that being said, does this actually move Infection down and move Soul Hunter up?
I still just really didn't like Soul Hunter, but it's a good. But it's a good thing to consider, right? Because
I personally, I agree with you. I think that end is so strong. The piece of this is so, it elevates this episode to me beyond really what it should be elevated.
Yeah.
And I think this is a better episode than Soul Hunter. Although I got to tell you, Soul Hunter is vastly elevated to me on the second watch too. So
I agree. I think everything has come up, but I also think that like most of what happens in Infection in the scope of Babylon 5 could happen anywhere else and be fine.
Okay.
Except for the Sinclair development. Like we learned some for real stuff about Sinclair that matters a lot and makes more sense as it goes. We also get the first hints of Garibaldi and what's going to haunt him throughout the rest of the series. So Soul Hunter hit some plot things that move forward. Infection gave us characters. And what did we learn in watching Sleeping in Light? Babylon 5 has a really cool plot and cool stuff, but it's the characters. It's the characters that the story is truly about.
Fair enough. So this is number 4. We're locking it. I'm sorry, number 3. We're going to lock
number
this in. Number 3. Soul Hunter moves down to number 4. All right. That's 100% correct.
And immutable.
And that's going to be it for Infection. Next week, Jeff, we're moving on to our next episode, episode 5. We'll round out our top 5. We'll find out, is this going to push Soul Hunter down to the 5th spot? Is it going to elevate? Is this going to take Born to the Purple? Will it usurp it? Our episode, Jeff, Parliament of Dreams. Now, I remember some pieces of this, but Jeff, do you remember what your prediction? You were sitting in this chair at the end of our Infection episode, and we heard Parliament of Dreams for the very first time. What did you think Parliament of Dreams was going to be about? No, wait. Yeah. What did you think Parliament of Dreams was going to be about?
I thought that this was going to be an episode focused on the council, possibly with some interaction from the League of Non-Aligned Worlds. But basically, this would be our first exposure in a real way to the Vorlon. What did you think it was going to be about?
Oh, Jeff.
This is the thing? This is the thing, isn't it?
This is the thing. I went back and I was like,
okay.
Here's what I said. Now, if you guys don't believe me, you can go back to the video. It's videoed. Go back to the video. It's on our YouTube channel. Go check it out. If you're on the audio podcast, it's in the audio feed. Go back to the other infection episode. Fast forward and listen. Here's what I said, Jeff. I said Parliament of Dreams was going to be a Kosh episode. And I said we would learn what Kosh is. What is he? What is he? Now, you and I both know we don't actually learn that until the end of season 2, right? Mm-hmm. But I said we would learn what Kosh really is. And this is what I said. I said Kosh is going to do something that's kind of mental, that's going to be talking about how psyche is governed on Babylon 5, and that, we would learn that Kosh, i.e. the Vorlons, have something to do with the telepaths. That's what I said.
Are you serious?
These guys had something to do with the telepaths. I don't think I said that they created the telepaths. Maybe I intimated that, but that they had something to do, that this was going to be them doing something with the telepaths.
I think that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
And that's total into season 5 payoff.
Right? Did you guys know? Did you guys catch that on the first watch? Did you guys freak out when you heard me say that, or did you miss it? So,
wow. Look at you. The one who will be, right?
Right.
Knocking it out of the park by episode 4.
Come on now. Unlocked the whole thing, man. If only I could have seen Byron coming. It could have saved us a whole lot of grief.
Everybody could have. Awesome. Well, next week we'll see. Is this going to be a Vorlon episode, or what is going to happen? Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this viewing, the second viewing of Infection. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching. Leave us a rating, leave us a review, and please share this show with somebody who needs to get plugged in with Babylon 5. So until next time,
hey,
I am
Jeff.
going to... Yes, what's going on?
Protect.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
Damn right, Ivanova.